Excuse me, that wasn't good. And hello, everyone. Welcome to the Other People Show. I'm Adam, here live on this Saturday night, 11 p.m. And we're in an RV. You might not believe that, but we are currently in an RV and broadcasting live from Facebook, and this episode will be on Spotify later. So if you're just tuning in, we are The Other People Show. Please check us out on Facebook and YouTube, and go to The Other People Show on Spotify. Like and share the video, and let's see what the new year has in store for us. Now, I'm not sure where everyone is. Hey, Lisa. I'm not sure where everyone is in their neck of the woods, but it's very cold, very chilly here, and but only at night. It's been kind of warm during the day, and so you never know really what to wear, what not to wear, like the show. So that's kind of why we've had delays in our show. Sickness, health, and to be quite honest, the lack of some of the motivation that I've not had personally in quite a while. So I'm hoping this will jumpstart getting back into doing the show live. Now, what was weird is that we drove over to the RV which is in Whitesburg, Kentucky. That's exactly where we are, in Whitesburg, Kentucky, inside of an RV. And we were going to go live, but when we pulled in, we were a little bit late to the party. We were already on air. We were live on air, even though we weren't live on air. Hey, Lana. So we pulled in. We heard ourselves, myself and Jake, on there, and we decided, well, since we're here, let's go ahead and I'll go ahead and start doing a show, and that's what I'm doing. So there's a lot of cool new things that are in production that are 75-80% done. And one of those is a short film called In Dreams. Now, In Dreams is kind of a, I guess you could say maybe a mystery thriller, so to speak. And it has some local talent. It has, I don't want to give away really anyone that's really in it right now, but it's going to be one of the best things I think that I've ever personally shot and made. Also, Lana has written and directed 2 shorts, which are just 1 or 2 minute sketches that we will be working on and debuting sometime next month as well. But tonight is going to be... Am I hearing someone outside? No, I thought I heard someone. Let me keep my earphones off just in case. But we have a great show tonight. Please, like I said, go check out the social medias that I mentioned earlier, Facebook, YouTube, and Spotify. Get our numbers up so we can continue to grow the channel and continue to do more shows and have a lot more fun, interactive things. But New Year's resolutions. Let's jump right into that. Wait. There's someone at the door. Let's go check this out.
Hello.
Oh, hey.
I came to interrupt. You can't do a show without me.
It's Lana,
you can't do a show without me.
The former host of the Late Date. Welcome.
You can't do a show without me.
What?
Let's get this done. Let's talk.
Wow. I didn't expect her, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming aboard the show. I was just getting ready to... hey, Jason. Just getting ready to start the show back up. New Year's. Did you have a good New Year's?
I had a good New Year's. I don't know that I had great holidays, just sickness and everything. I think a lot of people had dealt with... I don't know, there's just winter blues and whatever, but yeah, I had a good holiday season and all of that, and New Year's I'm looking forward to doing
some shows and such.
Yeah, I was watching.
Well, I was saying that,
right before I interrupted, and you happened to mention some skits that I was about to put out.
Yeah. That you've written and directed, that you're going to be directing.
I have written some shorts that I am happy to like direct others. I like doing that because I don't ever really get to. But kind of like their previous things. That's What You Get, Creepy Old Man. I wrote and directed those.
Yep.
So those are going to be cool.
And got quite a few compliments out of those.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like, I don't know,
now
sitcom type of humor.
Yeah. Now, when people, when you first started doing some of the sketches that you've started doing, was this an unexpected thing for people to see you in? Or was this right down your alley?
I actually think a lot of this, I've been on the radio, I've been doing these like little skits and stuff. Actually, it's probably in thanks to you, and being introduced to you and being introduced to this world. Yeah, he likes to take credit for everything. But anyways, yeah, just being involved in it and stuff, and other people that we've pulled involved in, and you were talking about your upcoming In Dreams.
Right,
you said you didn't want to give anybody away. I was listening.
Right.
I was listening as I knocked up. Because I was
Should we give anyone away?
I would just like to give a special shout out to my family, who has personally been involved.
They have. And they've stepped up when we've needed some.
Personally been involved. And there's some good talent and some very interesting characters there. So.
And I'm very pleased
like me.
for
you're like me.
Very pleased for them to actually see their work on screen.
I think they're excited to see it too, and what we've seen of it, because we get to see it, is surprising, and I think it's going to be something they'll cherish. And it's one of those things that I would like to see more of other people in our community get involved in. Not just like you can do the TikToks, you can do the short reels, you can do your Facebook stories and all of that. But how about like plan out something fictional? Just go through a storyline. I grew up to where we had which I'll get into later. I want to talk about weird games.
Right. Before we do that, please like and share the video. Did you like and share on your Facebook page?
I did not.
Please do that before we continue.
I'm going to like and share my Facebook page.
Thank you.
He's telling me to.
Now, what has happened is there was going to be more cameras involved, but I neglected to bring the other devices that we needed. So my apologies. But what I was telling them is we had drove over in anticipation of doing a live show on the air. But when we got inside the RV, we were already on the air. So we didn't want to interrupt ourselves to start a new show.
That is true. Which is okay. I think the Other People show has a lot of past content that's worth going back and checking out. You can do that on...
And some not so much.
You could do that at the Other People show on YouTube, the Other People show on Facebook, on Spotify.
Yep.
And on Spotify as well. Those, like a lot of the shows in the past that I've been involved in, you've been involved in way longer. I'm new to this.
Well,
I think a lot of people would really enjoy going back and looking at past content and like what it's all about. Like,
and the evolution too.
Yeah.
Because you do have 19 episodes of The Late Date under your belt. Well, you don't really wear a belt,
I don't really wear a belt. But the late date is something possibly I could consider bringing back. I've just gone through so much personal things that turmoil that have like life happenstance, life, death, just the ebbs and flows of emotional tugs.
You want to see if you have your screen to see if you get in comments?
That I'd literally just it kind of puts to where you don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
But maybe until a little bit of processing goes along, until after the fact. But maybe the late date will come back and we'll start doing that.
Yeah.
I'll start processing some of these things that I've gone through, relationship-wise, relationships, personal, with family, with friends, and all of that, like evolutions of just how things are.
And the late date was once a week, so it doesn't have to always be a once a week thing. It could always be a once a month or bi-weekly
Check in,
thing too.
Tell people how it's going.
The do's and don'ts of dating. Now, speaking of things, what are some things that do annoy you? Because we both have side hustles, and I don't want people to think that, you know, us being internet stars and social media stars and such, and broadcasting.
I'm not sure I consider myself an internet star, but
broadcasting greats. But that being said, what are some things we have to deal with?
He's telling me to.
What are some things?
That's.
So you always make sure your volume's always down. But what are some things, the audience as well, that does annoy you? Maybe even pet peeves, so to speak. It could be things that annoy you within the public, within yourselves, with.
I have like really odd things that annoy me.
Yeah.
I want you to go first, though. What annoys you?
I mean, one thing that does annoy me, and this is a thing maybe everyone that has worked at a customer service job, is when you ask, would you like your receipt back? And then they say, well, I'm not planning on bringing this back. Or, some kind of little snarky, little jokey comment as the person is checking out. I think that's annoying to me. That's very annoying.
Well, you work with the public. I can see how that's like an annoying thing, but that seems like pretty minor, like kind of like everyday things that people have to do. I have more like personal annoyances.
Like what?
I have the misophonia. For people that don't know, it's actually a psychological like disorder to where you get highly anxious, highly angered, highly annoyed by sounds and specific sounds. And mine are like very oddly specifically tied to people ingesting dairy products. Like looking and seeing at somebody drinking milk, eating ice cream, slurping up, anything that's like dairy related.
Yeah.
It's kind of a big deal. It's like a weird thing. Like it's a weird thing. Like you think of like what annoys you, and I'm like, yeah, that's annoyed me all of my life.
Well, also things annoy me.
I'm in therapy, but like we don't go over that.
When people put the toilet paper on the wrong way, that's annoying. When you don't get the hair out of the drain, that's annoying.
Well, those are common annoyances.
It's annoyances that should not happen.
Is that really a strange annoyance? Do you have any strange annoyances?
Strange annoyances?
Like things that you're like, I don't know that anybody else gets annoyed by this, but I do.
I don't know. I try to pay attention to people as least and as most as possible. Both. Like, I try to pay attention to them enough where I don't have to really socialize with. I'm not a people person. I've realized that lately. I'm really not. I want to be, but I'm not.
I think you're a people person. I think most people that encounter you probably think you're a pleasant person to be around.
Until they know me. Then they don't.
So that's why maybe you just keep people at bay. Don't know me because you might not like what you see.
I don't know. I mean, I do have annoyances, but I don't know if it's people annoyances. Like, I am annoyed when you get pre-sliced apples and they're not all sliced the same way.
That's called obsessive compulsive disorder.
You know.
Which is like a psychiatric disorder.
I'm annoyed when people...
Like having misophonia is a psychiatric disorder.
I mean, I get annoyed when people don't listen to what I say. Like, that annoys me. It really does. I'm not just speaking with anyone.
Maybe a little constructive criticism here.
If people could listen to constructive criticism that I give.
Can you?
But there's nothing to give.
Can you listen to constructive criticism
if there's something
about
to give,
yourself? Because you said you would want people to listen to you, and that's all you're committing to. But like, what if no matter what, like in Adam's world?
No, I would take advice if it's the logically best advice to take.
I actually think you think that your way of the ways is the right way, and everybody else is probably the wrong way, and there's no maybe leeway.
There is leeway. There is leeway.
I don't know. I don't
little.
know people. I don't know.
A little leeway.
There's a small amount of leeway. It's minuscule.
A wee amount of wee.
Yeah.
Wee like.
It's a very tiny amount. But
it's there.
It is there.
Barely there.
It is there. It is somewhat noticeable that you maybe can alter thinking that you're not right.
Maybe. What else with you? You said the misophonia.
And you think things that annoy me. So I talked about.
But they could be great annoyances. They could be minor annoyances.
You know, I think we were talking about this previously. I don't know if it was today, if it was another day. We talked to you. I get highly annoyed if I'm ever around any other party, so any other people or any other group, and they are down talking someone, just to down talk them.
Just to down talk. What if the person?
Especially when it comes to being mean. Like
what would be an example?
Like,
do you have anything in mind?
Oh my God! Did you see her hair like that? She came out like that. She just like she's not even trying. Like she'd be so much prettier. She'd just do this and this and this.
Yeah.
Look, or all of that. Like the people that down other people.
Yeah.
If you're around these people that are downing or just always negative, seem to like no matter what, like they just have negative things to say about anybody or everybody around them. Like, oh my God, did you see that girl? Like, I don't know. I think she's just kind of stuck up. Well, I don't know. Like it.
You're not walking in her shoes.
Yeah, it's just kind of like, why are we focused on these negative thoughts about other people? Like we're just because these people are having negative thoughts. Like, then maybe you just don't want to be around them. Like it annoys me when people pay attention to just negative feedback.
They could be paying attention to someone else's misgivings, not to focus on their own.
Maybe it just annoys me because I look at people and I'm like, you can be better than that. Don't listen to people that are like that. Don't put yourself around people that are like that. So maybe that's the annoying thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, that's toxic. Don't be around people that are toxic.
No, another thing that kind of annoys me sometimes, not really annoy me, but there's one thing that does annoy me. But one thing that's just a little bit of annoyance is when people think they're good at games, but they're not as good as they think they are.
I can understand that annoyance, but I also have this thing wrong with me to where I always talk myself up, like hyper ego, hyper inflation of it. I'd be like, oh, I'm so good at this game. Like, oh, yeah, I know this. Like, and maybe not be as good as, the competition. I'm a crap talker.
Right.
I like to, but I like the competitiveness, and at the same time, I like people that are better than me to compete against. But
what are some of the games that you played or have played?
Oh, I mean, all of them.
Like, what's some of your favorite ones that stand out? Like most recently.
Well, one of my favorite games is I like to throw dice, and one of the easiest games that people haven't heard of is called Farkle. And over the course of the past decade or so, in the past couple of years, I've introduced many family and friends because it's a very simple.
You've introduced me to that.
Yeah, it's a very simple game.
And it's a quick game.
And you can sit there and socialize while you play it and all of that. And it's all about luck. It's a lot about strategy, but. It's some about strategy, but it's
a little risk.
About luck.
You're taking risks.
Yeah, it's a lot about luck. It's gambling, kind of.
Thomas, this could be for you.
Yeah, Thomas, you would love Farkle. So that's one of the games that I like because it just puts you in there to where like that competition and stuff like that. But I always
it's kind of like that game.
I always like to have beef around the table, like friendly competition. Like I'm going to try to psych you out.
What's the game at the casino when you're rolling the dice? Is it just called dice or something?
Craps.
Is that what it's called?
Craps.
So it's kind of like that with what, 6 dice?
I think you only played with 2.
No, Farkle.
Oh, Farkle is with 6. Yes.
Is it 6 dice or 6 die?
Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. I'm trying to get over a sinus.
A double ear infection.
Yeah, a double ear infection. I think it's going around. I think everybody's been a little bit sick. I don't normally get sick.
Which that's why I told them that it's kind of been like start and go with the show because of sickness.
You want to know what I've realized? Thank you.
Sorry.
You want to know what I've realized? I'm actually a really whiny, sick person. I always thought I was like, oh, don't bother me, and I'm taking care of this. Here recently, I feel like, and I've actually said it to like my boss at work, I feel like I'm being really whiny about being
You said that at at work?
I've said that at work. I feel like I'm being really whiny and I'm not usually a whiny sick person. I think I've become this whiny sick person.
Huh. How do you think you've become that? Just over time? Do you think you've always been this and didn't know it, or just have evolved into it over the years?
Evolved into it somehow. I don't like it about it.
Is it the older that you get, the worse you feel, maybe? Because things hit differently when you're a little bit older.
Oh, I don't want to be that person that's just whining about getting old. I just had a birthday.
You did. Happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sorry, I forgot.
No, but you're making it up to me with a pretty, I think, decent birthday present. I mean,
was it better than last year's gift?
Better than last year's gift.
You're hard to shop for, though.
I know, baby. But, yeah, it is what it is, and I think here in the future it'll be made up for.
I think so too. So you had a few little notes prepared.
I had a few little notes prepared because you were talking about games.
Because that's something I think everyone of every age, of every generation, can relate to playing at some type of level. Whether it's a video game, a board game, you just mentioned dice, like Farkle, cards.
I do prefer more simple games.
Even the game with, what's it called, jacks with the ball, and try to grab the jacks, even that, it's a little bit of a game.
Okay, so we grew up at about the same decade. About the same, like we're coming out of age to the back of the same decade. So back in the 80s,
which is a good time.
Good time. You didn't have so much electronics or anything like that. If you lucky to have Atari or a computer and stuff like that, that was strange. Which we did, but we were limited in time in television. So there was a lot of time to where we were left to our own devices to come up with games. Did you ever have any of these weird, strange games you used to play with your siblings, your cousins, your family, or your friends that you would have to come up with? Like you would make up all on your own. Self-play, you controlled, you set the boundaries, you had to figure out conflicts on your own because there was no set rules because it was a made-up game.
You made the rules.
You made the rules. We had a lot of made-up games.
Seems like we did.
Can you think of any that you...
I'm trying to think of a made-up game that we may have had.
That would have just been funny and weird because we used to do, I've seen it on TikTok, how people put water in their mouth and they're trying to keep it in their mouth, and my brothers and sisters did that pretty early on, where we stand around the sink and be like, okay, everybody's got water in their mouth. If it would have been recorded, that's TikTok gold right now.
Yeah. We used to play a game called Make Me Laugh, and we sat in this chair one at a time. We had 60 seconds to make the other one laugh using anything within the room.
Unencumbered by adult rules and all of that. Kids tend to make up fantastical games. That's why children probably have imaginary friends.
Yeah.
And things like that, which I did have. Hi, Jakey. I don't really know that he's imaginary still, but I can recall what he looks like.
Can you?
Yeah, I can. I had an imaginary friend till I was 06.
Till 06?
Till not 06.
Oh. I thought you said 06.
I would have been in my 20s.
I know. I was like 06.
Well, I guess 2023 because maybe Jakey does really exist. He may really exist.
He may be.
Like I said, I remember what he looks like. I remember talking to him. But anyways, growing up, we used to have these really odd, strange games that we came up with.
Did they have names?
They did. We had Strays.
Okay.
We played a game called Carol.
Okay.
We played another game called Mother Superior.
Okay.
We had the water game. Obviously, I just mentioned, I said, TikTok gold right now. But there was a particular game.
Hey, Susan.
There was a particular game that we literally played that I ran across in the past couple of years that seemed so strange that we were doing this when we were younger.
Okay.
We called it the staring game.
Okay.
The staring game is actually real. Recent studies in the past 5-6 years have shown that there is a psychological reason why this game actually works and all that. And so the staring game pretty much is you would be close to, and at that time, it would have been my brothers and sisters or cousins and stuff sleeping over. And semi-darkness, staring at somebody for long or extended period of times. Like, say if we were to do it here in light, probably take about 10 minutes from what I read. But we always kind of did it in the dark. And the first person that got scared lost. But the premise behind this game is that you would stare at somebody, and all of a sudden, within minutes, their face would start to distort.
Yeah.
Kind of like a monster or yourself or somebody else you know.
Or just misshapen somehow. And
there's actual, like, dark psychology manipulation studies that say your brain will induce this drug-induced, like, state of disassociation over so many minutes if you do that. We were doing this as, like, a fun game.
You don't know what another way to do that is if you look at somebody upside down for an extended period of time. Their face does the same thing.
Your brain changes. We would literally sit there and see who could outlast being scared of your mind disassociating.
I wish that I could hang upside down here and I would do the show upside down.
Can happen.
Looking into your eyes upside down.
We could stare at somebody in the dark. Ooh, excuse me. Stare at somebody in the dark, and it's like all of a sudden they turn into a monster. And who could ever, like, look without turning away or without getting completely freaked out was the winner.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't take but just a few minutes. And I ran into a study saying this is actually something that they know now. It's called a form of dark psychology manipulation. And I'm like, we were doing that at like 8, 9 years old.
And you're probably thinking that explains so much what we are where we are.
It does explain so much. We actually, it probably, again, is something I should probably bring up in therapy. And so I wanted to talk about that.
Okay,
because,
I'm glad you brought that up.
I would like to hear if anybody else has played that game. And I'm going to reiterate by, like, saying what you would have to do is just staring at somebody kind of close, hand, foot away for a few minutes. Dimmer light is better. You literally will start to hallucinate and see that your brain will start to disassociate. And they know that to be a true scientific thing that your brain starts doing. And we did this as young children, as fun.
Now, how long was the longest that you remember lasting? So if we cut the lights off in here and we would stare at each other's eyes or our faces, we would start to see disformation,
distortions to figure. You would actually start hallucinating, and you can even see yourself.
What if we stared at the audience? It wouldn't work because we couldn't see into their eyes.
You can't see the audience. You have to be able to see.
So if the audience members has that, just staring at each other's eyes.
It's a stare.
Preferably cut the lights down and just stare. And this is not a laughing contest.
No, it is not. It's actually quite scary.
Right.
That's how you lose, is being the freaked out the most, the scared the most. In this game that we played when I was younger, I mean,
what did you call the game?
We call it the staring game. Like the staring game.
Who was the champion of the staring game? Who was the last place?
Like, I remember playing a lot with, like, my older sister, and younger brother. But if anybody's listening and listens back to this, if you played this staring game, it actually feels like a drug-induced type of game. And it's something you can do within minutes. And it's as simple as staring at somebody, literally close proximity. If lights are on, probably about 10 minutes, but you'd be staring into their eyes. You're trying not to laugh. You're trying not to do anything. You're just staring. Their whole being will change into something completely different. It becomes scary.
Yeah.
And it's a true phenomenon. Why we were doing this when we were so young, I don't know. And like you said, it could explain a whole lot of issues we've all had in our later years.
Could be.
Because I think the study I read was like from 2015 when they figured this out. And I'm like, we figured this out back in the 80s.
Yeah.
Back in the 90s when we were bored and had nothing to do. Like, we had to go to bed at 8. We didn't have no devices.
Right.
And if you were awake, you were watching Star Trek and you were falling asleep anyways.
True.
Like, it was not a time.
Right. Not a time to be alive as well.
It was a good time to be alive. I will have to say. But
now,
we came up with some pretty strange games.
Now, what would you say would be, like you were talking about Farkle, and what would you say would be your go-to games, your top 3 go-to games? They could be any kind of game. You know, it doesn't doesn't matter.
I'm just going to put trivia games all in one. So questions, answers, like speed talking, speed thinking. So Trivial Pursuit. We played Splurt the other night with a
Yeah, we
friend.
played Splurt, and what was the other game called?
Smart Ass.
Well, I thought we played two last night, didn't we?
And then we played In Sync, to where you like. That's kind of like a Cranium type of game too.
Yeah.
You want to like.
Now, Cranium is actually a fun game because you get to mold things out of clay, you get to draw, you can answer trivia, and there's...
You can sing, you can hum, and like all of those things, yeah. That is a fun game, I will agree. So I would say Farkle will be in the first, and we talked about that earlier on the show. That's an easy fun
that's your numero uno, is Farkle.
That's when it... Probably at the moment. But I also like to play... There's a game called Sequence, which is an older game. It's very simple with cards.
I think it's a fun game.
Yeah.
I think it's a fun game. I think Uno is a really fun game.
Uno is a fun game. But here recently, I didn't realize how much. Although
Hey, Susan.
I thought I was better than what I was. Billiards, so pool.
Yeah.
That is actually a very fun game.
That is really fun. That's a very fun game.
I might say a lot of a lot of choice words. That was an oxymoron in there. A lot of choice words as I'm playing it because I'm not so well.
But I thought actually you did play pretty well. I never had seen you play before.
Like we played together, and I
was
played with
surprised.
friends too, going out here recently, and I'm like, wow, I had a pool table when I was younger, and I was good. And it's like it's kind of like skating. You lose it.
You did skate the other day for your birthday, and you had a good time.
Had a good time, but it's not like riding a bicycle. So billiards isn't like riding a bicycle either. Just because you used to be good, you might not be good.
But I think
your
you can be
ego is
better.
overinflated on how good you are. So you're talking yourself up.
Did you talk yourself up in billiards?
I always talk myself up in games.
See, I didn't talk myself up in billiards. I just let the pool cue be the talker.
I just let it
speak for itself.
Yeah, I do believe I won the World Series.
So what we're going to do is I'd say we end on a high note because we've done like a 30-minute show so far. Like we said, thanks everyone for tuning in. I came in. We were on the air. We didn't want to interrupt ourselves on the air. So what we will do is the show that you're watching now that we're recording is going to be airing next week on 88.7 WMMT at 10 p.m.
That sounds interesting. So if we're going to be airing next week, we should probably go back over some of the future projects that we got coming out.
Yeah.
We got, again, we have In Dreams, which is near and dear to me, which Adam has wrote, produced.
But you have a segment.
Directed. I do
Your
star
segment
it.
is 100% complete.
I did a full rap on
your niece's segment, who looks very identical to Lana, minus the green hair.
Minus the green hair.
Brittany doesn't have green hair.
Yeah, I have.
But she's finished up her segment.
We have Shelly, and we have, hopefully, we need to do a little bit of other reshoots with Shane, so my son's dad, which is exciting. So I have all of these people in my life that really jumped in and gotten involved in your project.
That might actually be playing at the movie theater.
Well, maybe.
We'll see how it goes. Now, it's looking good, though.
You can show it there. I can't guarantee I can be there to watch.
Yeah. We might premiere there. So,
I'm not going to watch that.
Thank you, everyone. Please like and share the video. Comment below your favorite games, your favorite games as a kid, even as an adult, things that annoy you, and any kind of New Year's resolutions you may have. We might talk about that in the future.
I want to hear more about like strange games. I just had this strange staring game. I want to see if anybody else came up with these crazy weird games that they look back upon.
You're like, that was nuts.
That they played in their childhood and said, that was crazy. No wonder I have this and this and this thoughts about this or behave in this and this way. Look at these games we used to play. They were weird.
Yeah.
They were weird.
So check out the Other People's Show on Facebook and YouTube, and the Other People's Show on Spotify. Thanks for coming by the RV.
Oh, no problem.
It was fun. It was fun. And everyone, have a good night.